balancing the city budget while ensuring essential services are maintained or improved?
Well, working with city department heads regarding the needs of each is obviously a big thing. Regular and real dialogue with city staff and residents to help ensure proper projects are funded, right? Real dialogue is, I guess, the underlying theme here. As a small city, there will always be budget constraints. That's just how it works, right? So the best approach, in my opinion, is working to prioritize what's most important for the community, so funds can be allocated or added to a wish list for later addition when funds are available. But my opinion is that you have to prioritize and you have to engage the community. That is first and foremost, period.
Go ahead, Anna. Yeah. No, you're in the right order. We're doing great.
Kind of a hard question. So I run a small business and I do my own quarterlies and balance my checkbook and pay my employees. But I can honestly say that this is the learning experience. Should you choose to elect me for this position, I can tell you that most first-time elected officials have a huge learning curve, but also an abundance of new and great ideas for moving Prosser forward. So if you give us a chance, I think we can do this.
Awesome. Thank you. Marcel?
All right, and I would love to see us get more value out of the places that we already have. So last year I organized with a group of local downtown home and business owners to form a group called the Friends of Downtown Prosser. And the purpose of this group was to communicate openly with Prosser residents about a proposed tax increase to fund a rather large and expensive building project outside of the downtown area. We, as a group, we spoke personally with Prosser voters. We held an in-person informational session at our local library, and you might remember getting some very bright yellow postcards in the mail from our group about this issue. We really wanted people to be informed and to know what was going on. I don't want to see our town have a throwaway culture where we see something that is getting maybe a little old and worn out and say, you know what, let's just abandon it, we'll get a new one, and we'll get it on credit. I think that we need to show some restraint, and rather than taking on more debt, really choose instead to invest in the things that we already have. I would also caution against uncontrolled growth of this town. I think the people who live here really do love the small town feel of Prosser. And I think that we need to be very careful about where we build new neighborhoods so that we don't create expensive infrastructure liabilities that fall on the rest of the town to fund and maintain.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go now with closing statements from each of you. We're going to start with Anna, and then we'll go with Kat, and then Marcel, you'll finish up.
So some of you have already voted, and if you did choose me and I'm elected, I will do my very best to listen to your wants and your needs and help this community grow. If you have not voted, I hope that this helps you make up your mind on whether you think that we're the right people for these positions. And finally, I know you will all be doing your due diligence investigating each candidate. So please do the same thing for people running for the school board. I believe our kids, regardless, deserve a fair shake. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to the community, to the organizers of this event. Julie, Christine, you've done a lot of work to get us here, and I appreciate that so much. And this is not your job, right? When you chose this, because the community means something to you. And that's what kind of started a fire in me, right? I've been a member of this community for a lot of years. I love our community. I want to see us succeed. I'm a business owner here. I'm a parent here. All of it matters. And I believe that the skill set that I have to be able to communicate with people and get people rallied together, very connected, and I feel like this is something that I can help with, and I want to. So, let's do it.
Thank you.
So I'm a native Prosser resident who loves my hometown. I understand that our community is
stronger when more people are informed and involved and welcomed. I take action about the things that I care about, and I will bring that energy to improving Prosser. I have a track record of collaborating with my neighbors and communicating openly with the public about city issues, and for fighting against unnecessary tax burdens for Prosser taxpayers. I will fight for high quality and well-maintained neighborhoods and for safe streets that everybody in town can enjoy.
Thank you very much. Let's give our council representative here a big round of applause. Please for all their comments and input tonight. And now we're going to move on to our mayoral candidates, Randy Taylor and Gary Vigar. And we'll just jump right in. Your introduction, please. What inspired you to run for mayor, and what unique qualifications do you bring to this position? Additionally, could you share your vision for the city? Specific goals you hope to achieve during your term as mayor. And Randy, we're going to go ahead and start with you.
Can everybody hear me okay? Don, you can hear me? Yeah. Okay, thank you. Well, I love Prosser. I think that bears out in everything I do. I believe in one community. So Gary and I are not taking the low road. As you notice, we're not swinging mud at each other. I'm not telling anybody that after the brewery closes that he pops a Bud Light and watches Scooby-Doo. I promised I wouldn't do that. But anyway, I think it's important that we don't take a page out of national politics. When we're done, I'm still going to have a bison blue burger, or whatever you said, it's a mystery meat burger. Beast burger, sorry. A beast burger at Gary Salute. I'm not going to say anything that's going to make him want to put pickles on my burger. And vice versa. So I think it's important that we work together as a community in all things, I think including this particular race. I've learned a lot from different mayors, different city council members, city administrators. They all help shape what I think and the way I act. And I have a passion for this town and for its success. I believe in strong economic growth while maintaining our small town charm. And you'll see that taking place as our economic growth is taking place kind of outside the edge of town, and our downtown corridor is strong and we support our small businesses. I think one of my strengths is my ability to work together with other people, build partnerships with people like the Port of Benton, Benton County, other cities and governments around in the area. And I know I had 2 minutes, and when I put more detail in, I was over 2 minutes. And so I'm just bullet pointing it, and she's giving me the 30-second nod.
All right, go ahead, Ben. Thank you, Randy.
First, before you put me on the clock, I'd just like to thank everybody that's come out tonight and engaged with our activity, and to Dean, our moderator, and Julie, and others that have been involved in this. Thank you very much. So, unique qualifications. Well, first of all, it's nothing unique, but I was born and raised in this community. Came back a number of years ago to make some contributions here in education, business, and civic discourse. I've had many years of volunteerism here in the city of Prosser, the historic downtown Prosser, the theater board, the Rotary, and the Chamber. Unique to me is my professional experience. I was involved in public education for 28 years, and then I left public education and started my own private enterprise in downtown Prosser down here for the last 15 years. So a couple of years ago, I started to pay attention to what was going on in Prosser, and I was a little disappointed at some of the, well, we'll just call it some of the treatment with stakeholders and their level of engagement in decision-making in Prosser. So to rectify that, I envision city leadership that actively engages the stakeholders in shared decision-making. I see a city that engages with stakeholders to enhance our charming downtown and our historical neighborhoods while managing areas of growth that are occurring all around us. This includes keeping city and county government downtown, not across the river. I envision a city that attends to 5 overall elements of a healthy community. One is good, effective local government, the best public schools in the region, an outstanding community health care and caregiving system, the livability of the community with plenty healthy things to do for all ages, and that also attract visitors. And finally, I envision the delivery of excellent city services that go along with sizzling customer service.
All right, thank you. Next category, we have leadership and collaboration, and we're going to start with Gary on this one. How do you plan to work collaboratively with other city officials, departments, community organizations to achieve your goals?
Collaboration, well, my leadership style in the word is collaborative. I'm also a driver. I'm a business guy. I know how to get things done. That means execution and completion of high-quality projects and activities. I see the role of a mayor in 2 large pieces. First, as a visionary leader that has the skills to engage city professionals, community stakeholders, and the broader citizens of 99350 in building a shared vision for our city. Second, I see the role of the mayor as a manager, getting things done through other people, primarily working with city staff, department heads, and interaction with the community. This means making certain that the department heads and the city staff are supplied with the appropriate training tools and support to ensure that they are able to execute the vision, mission, and goals of the city. How do I plan to engage with the citizens? Well, I believe in know how to execute shared decision making. And I also know the difference between when to employ shared decision making process and when to be able to make a snappy decision in a moment. How long is a moment? It's about 90 seconds. If you want to look at some examples of poor processing, all you have to do is look at several things that have gone on in the last bit of time here. The process of locating the city hall and police station, $2 million of insurance dollars to buy speculation of land for an ill-conceived project. Listening by the city is marginal. Water rates and sewer rates have gone up. I'll give you a personal example. I've got 2 businesses. One of my water rates is going up 146%, and another business is going up 420%. Now, if the bond had passed, if you take those fees, and you take the bond that didn't pass, the city's ask from Carol and I was about $2,500 a year. So, as a citizen, as a taxpayer, I can say I can't afford the current city vision and where they're taking our community.
Thank you. Citizen engagement, you both have touched on it a little bit. So we're going to start with you, Randy, on this one. How do you plan to engage the citizens of the community and ensure their voices are heard in the decision-making process? How will you improve the city department's efficiencies and effectiveness with the city government customers?
No problem. Is it okay if I go ahead and answer the leadership collaboration question?
I am so sorry. Yes. Why don't you do that one first? And then you're going to be first on the citizen engagement question, so you hang on to the microphone. Okay. Yes. I knew it was screwing up there, but I didn't know what it was.
So we do work collaboratively, like I said before, with the ports and the counties and other cities. We're looking for funding opportunities and the way that we can collaborate for the benefit of us all. We assign council members and city staff to almost every committee in our town and our area. Don up there serves on the Good Roads Board, which is kind of wall-to-wall event in Franklin counties. Steve Beckett is here. He serves on the Ben Franklin Transit Board. So as you see our buses come and go on our dial rides, he's the guy that helps make sure that keeps going for us. And this talks about leadership and collaboration. And, you know, so many times people run around a box and bark, and that's not leadership. Leadership is getting involved. Leadership is asking questions. You as regular citizens in our city have been subsidizing a certain amount of ratepayers. Those ratepayers are kind of our medium-use water ratepayers, and unfortunately Gary's brewery falls into that. So his rates, he has been paying similar rates as like a real estate office. And so as the council, we delve through all the rates, and I'm sorry, Gary, there's probably 10 or 15 that fall into your classifications, and they did go up. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of the answer to that question. I'm sure you called Tony and asked her that question also, so she was able to explain.
Yeah, I stopped.
Okay, excellent. One thing I do as mayor, and then I will do with new council members, is I meet with them ahead of time. If you win your election, I will meet with you and say, okay, what are your hot buttons and what are your real passions about? Because I really need to get that out of the way first. And so the first few months of the year, we're going to work exactly on what your passions are, get them off the table. Because I need you to love Seward. I need you to love streets. I need you to love parks. And if you only have 1 or 2 pressure points, then we can get those taken care of and get you on and educated about everything else we do. Speaking of leadership, just so you know, some things that I have done as a leader is I've tried to bring the community together during COVID, handing out masks and hand sanitizer on a Saturday. My number's still in the phone book. These ladies reminded me they weren't even sure what that was. So I get calls about, hey, somebody's digging a hole over there. What are they building? I get calls about dogs barking, limbs falling. I even got a call about the coyotes at the airport. Gee, they're in the same place they were yesterday.
Time.
Time?
That's right.
All right. I won't tell you about the skunk again.
Okay. All right. This microphone's a little bit on a delayed system, so thank you for that. Apologize for that mystery. Back to citizen engagement. I can read the question again if you like, or you guys have those in front of you. I think let's go ahead. And Randy, you're going to go first on this one. So,
I am?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so citizen engagement. I really like community meetings. I like to have the citizens come. I like to speak to council members. The last time we had a community meeting, there was a few people that decided to call the city and cuss at them. So I didn't really appreciate that. And that is not representative of who we are in Prosser. So I just want you to know that we want to hear from you. We're a representative government, so because there's 5,700 people here, we elect city councilors, and those city councilors make those decisions. We give them our feedback, and they make those decisions. There's no way we can get 5,700 people into a council chamber and get anything done. So that's the way that form of government works. But we still need citizen input. Our team at the city and our management will have layoffs because we don't have spare people. We did fail a little bit when we ran the bond. We should have done a little bit more citizen engagement. But one of the meetings that Gary talks about not being involved in was called our Space Needs Study. So we hired an engineering firm, and they came in and they talked to us about what police stations look like on the inside, what city halls look like on the inside, what kind of needs that you need for space. They talked about what you're going to need for the future. They were engineers, architects. And unless Gary's been in jail a lot more than I thought he has, I'm not sure he lends a lot to that discussion. I didn't attend those discussions because I know a lot, but I don't know enough to, I think, benefit that group. We had some council members on it, some staff, and the engineers and architects. Through that process, they just drew a mock-up of a building, and they did some cost analysis. And, yeah. Your turn.
We're still on citizen engagement?
Yes.
Yes, we are still on citizen engagement, and I can repeat the question if you'd like, because I read it a while ago. But how do you plan to engage with the citizens of our community and ensure their voices are heard in the decision-making process? How will you improve the city department's effectiveness and efficiency with the city government customers?
I actually touched on this a moment ago as I was ripping through my response, but I'll speak to it again. I believe in and know how to engage in shared decision-making processes and in a systematic approach. And what that means is engaging the community in a collection of data, perceptual data, people's opinions, and technical data that comes from department heads from the city, as well as state, federal consultants that we employ as a city. Now, if you do that correctly, you can engage the community into a discussion. And it doesn't matter if it's COVID. It doesn't matter if there's a group of people that have a project that they want to run through. It is literally the collection of perceptual data and technical data to inform a shared decision-making process. That's what I bring to the table. I've been doing it for many years in public enterprise and in private enterprise. And generally speaking, you can tell the difference within a community that is educated with the appropriate data, and a community that is left out of the decision-making process.
Okay, thank you very much. We're going to move on to future challenges, and Gary, we'll be starting with you. What do you see as the biggest challenges of our city will face in the next 4 years, and how do you plan to address that?
Number one, Randy probably will agree with me on this, but number one, I see rebuilding trust within our city leadership. The city council's decision to spend $22 million to go to the taxpayers for an ill-conceived project, while at the same time purchasing the property to build on before gaining the support of Prosser stakeholders, destroyed a large part of the voting public's trust. Before the bond election, there was a concerted effort to attack citizens that advocated a different vision of where the city hall and police station could be located. After the fallout from the bond election, there was a concerted effort to supposedly listen and then tell the voters how they got the bond vote all wrong. Well, 85% of the voters got the vote right, 14% of the voters listened and followed the city's prescription to solve the issues. Now, me, personally, I plan to model decorum and professionalism to our city employees, stakeholders, and expect our department heads and staff to serve above self while executing tasks with the city employees. Don't get me wrong, I see our current staff and department heads as the bright spot in the city organization. Number two, let's ensure that stakeholders are informed of both perceptual and technical data and given real opportunities for their voices to be heard. Number three, and this is a big one, in the next couple of years, If all of the planned 1,000 housing units go into Prosser here, there's going to be a population increase of about 1,000 people in a very short period of time. Do we have enough water, sewer, capacity, law enforcement, fire protection, school capacity, money to support our brittle downtown and traditional neighborhoods? Who is paying for the growth? Are we planning accordingly? If you've noticed, out on the exits, particularly exit 80, it's becoming super congested out there. When the hospital goes in and additional housing across north of the hospital, it's going to be even more congested. Downtown, this is the fourth one, we are at a crossroads. Oh, I'm getting the red X. Lorraine, twice. We are an ascending downtown with many creatives building a creative economy downtown and throughout 99350. What is the creative economy and who are the creatives? Well, it's all coming up. We're working on it. We are creating a creative district in Prosser, and we're going to enhance the economy of the creatives. The last one is appealing to housing and historic neighborhoods, walkability, and community livability.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to go ahead and move on to closing statements. How do you view the roles of the Chamber of Commerce, Prosser Economic Development, Historic Downtown Prosser Associations, and what role should the city play in their support? Again, PETA brings new business in, Chamber brings in tourism, HTP has invested more than $500,000 in tax dollars back into Prosser. How do you see all of you working together to create a sustainable Prosser? And Randy, we'll start with you.
Dean, he didn't use my time, so I'll go ahead and answer the future challenges question also.
See, this, I gotta tell you a quick story. I videotaped my sister's wedding one time, and when the camera went to the organist's feet, and then it ran out of battery before the ceremony started, I was never asked to do another wedding videotaping. Okay? So, again, my apologies, and I'm glad you're paying attention, and that was a test, and you passed. So please, answer the future challenges. What do you see as the biggest challenges in our city will face in the next 4 years, and how do you plan to address that? Now, I'm going to give you a couple extra, maybe a minute, okay?
No.
If needed.
I can do it under 2. We've got lots of good issues coming our direction that we may not be excited about. If you haven't noticed, we've got a little bit of a crime wave coming our direction. It's starting in the upper reaches of the valley towards the Wapito Yakima area. Creeping our way. Those include gangs, theft, drugs, and just recently we were getting our share of homeless. That's one thing that's coming our direction. We have a public safety sales tax out there that's being voted on, and it funds 2 officers plus equipment for Prosser. If it doesn't pass, there go 2 officers, or something else gets passed. So our sales tax funds that we get from you all purchasing things in Prosser goes to the general fund, and that general fund pays for our police officers. Right now we keep 2 police officers on staff at all times. We have an enviable 2-minute response time when you call 911. Now, people try to say, means, how do you do that? Well, 2 things. They don't sit at the police department. They're out patrolling. So they might be a block away. Plus in Prosser, clear across town isn't very far either. So we're pretty proud of our guys, but the problem we're having is if we talk to a citizen that gets to visit the Benton County Hotel, then we're short somebody on the street. If that happens in the middle of the night or something. And I think prevention is the best recipe for that. And so we'd like to get to 3 officers on staff at all times. A big thing that's coming is this funding of the City Hall Police Station. We've got to get a good direction from the council. When they decide what we're gonna go do it. But whatever we do is gonna cost money. Whether we do a tent city, whether we do a new city hall, wherever we build it, it's gonna cost money. So we have to do what's best for our citizens and most efficient if we can. Last thing in my last 30 seconds is the state's been really good about unfunded mandates. They quit using the term. Instead, they just put it into their legislation. The last one to come our direction is going to be House Bill 1181. It has some really good things in it, but for rural communities, it's going to change how we design neighborhoods, how we zone things. And so we'll have to rewrite our whole comprehensive plan. And so us small towns were yelling and saying, oh man, you can't do this, you got to hire consultants. Oh, here's a whole bunch of money for you to do that with. So we're really going to have to watch ourselves as we go through that process to make sure we do what's best for Prosser.
Awesome. If I checked the right boxes here, Gary, you've already answered that question. So we're going to move on to the closing statement now. So, and again, how do you view the roles of the Chamber of Commerce, Foster Economic Development, and Historic Downtown Prosser Association? And what role do you think the city should play in their support? Of course, Peter brings in business, Chamber is bringing in tourism, HGP investing more than $500,000 from DNO tax dollars back into Prosser. How do you see all of you working together to create a sustainable Prosser?
All right, so the Chamber, Historic Downtown Prosser, and Prosser Economic Development each hold a unique as well as common roles in promoting Prosser, promoting economic growth, and promoting collective business enterprise throughout our city and throughout 99350. All three organizations utilize a model that employs a paid executive director and one paid assistant. All three organizations are dependent on a mix of public and private money to meet the mission of their organizations. All three organizations are highly dependent on volunteer board members and volunteers to meet the work level of the activities. In our region, if you look around and compare Prosser to towns close to our size, nobody is even close to Prosser when it comes to planning and executing high-quality public and private events, all of which add to the fabric of our community and promoting Prosser economically. And I've served on the Chamber Board, I've served on the Princess Theater Board. I've got 6 years in on the Historic Downtown Prosser Board where I'm wrapping up as president. I see the relationship between the city and the three organizations as vital to the economic growth of Prosser. For the most part, I see the city level staff involvement with each organization as exceptionally strong. Excuse me. With Historic Downtown Prosser, we are blessed to have three highly engaged city representatives. Don Aubrey, who's here tonight, Tom Glover, and Tony Yost. The work of HDP is highly dependent on a strong partnership with the city, so it's curious to witness sometimes how petty grudges have come up that develop when certain city leaders feel slighted. I would say that across the board, for each organization, for the most part, there's a strong support from the city, unless there's some divergent thinking, which runs against the grain of some individuals. Overall, I'm pleased to report that the relationship between the city and the three organizations that we've talked about is a good relationship, and it can always improve.
Thank you. Randy, I'm going to go ahead and give you an opportunity to answer this question.
I love hearing you talk about the question, and I'll just read it instead.
You want me to read it again?
No, I'm just teasing you. Gary hit the nail on the head. You have three really strong, vibrant organizations that are really beneficial to the city of Prosser. JP is awesome. Melinda's awesome. I don't see Neil here tonight. He's awesome. We have a great group of leaders that do great things for us. And Steve Beckett's up there. Him and I were on the council when we thought Chamber wasn't going to make it. And so we made some changes to their funding to make sure they could make it. And that was a good change, and it's good for us, it's good for Prosser. These organizations do a lot of work, they put in a lot of hours for all of our benefit. Along with those people are people like the Boys and Girls Club, Katie at the library. These are stars we have in our community, and I appreciate them every day. One thing that we get not only from these organizations, we get some intel. And so a few years ago, PETA came to us and said, hey, we've got some, companies want to move to Prosser. And they want a place for their CEO, and they want a place for their managers and their family. And there isn't anything. So the council got together and we figured out what we would do. And so we incentivize housing. So we made it so that a builder could make just a tiny bit more money building a house in Prosser than he could in Pasco. And that kind of started our boom. So that has since faded away, and it's continued to keep going the way it is. It's been a great blessing for us to do that. So we've got these houses. Now it's coming along. We've got economic development along with it. And we're still keeping our small town charm, especially thanks to those organizations downtown. And I don't know where I'm at as far as time. And just give me the minutes. I'm not going to say Gary went over, so I am. So I'm not going to do that. So. Anyway, thank you all for coming. And it's obvious that you love Prosser as much as we do. You can tell that we have a passion for our city. I go to other cities. I go to the Yakima County Mayors Association. They've got issues on there. And thankfully they haven't get here yet. And I'd like to keep it that way. But it's all of you that make us a great city. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's give all the candidates a great round. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the questions. What's really exciting is that we're actually a little bit ahead of schedule. So that should allow for a few more questions. Keith, you want to come up here and read some of those?
So we have questions for both, for all three candidates that are positions that are represented here in the Port City and Mayor. So we'll start one with this is a question that is actually addressed to Gary, Randy, and the council. But I'm gonna throw this to Gary and Randy. If you would respond to this, Randy, maybe you could take the lead on it, and then Gary can follow. Our parks and playfields do not currently meet the needs of our children and their sporting events. What plans, if any, do you have to help improve and update our parks and fields?
We've got a master parks plan, and we're about ready to re-update that Prosser Parks plan. We have tentative plans for the spray field. It all comes down to funding in a small town. So we apply for grants every year to try to get some of that funding, and we seem to be moving up the list on some of our things. We've actually had a plan for the spray field that included baseball field, a soccer field, a frisbee golf course, and different things. So it's coming, and so every time a developer comes in and builds some houses, part of his fee goes towards parks. And so he has to set apart a fee or a piece of land for a park, and so we try to combine all that and kind of do the best we can with that.
Randy's correct. It has a great deal to do with funding and seeking grants. There's been a few things that I've observed over the years that I've been disappointed in. I was disappointed to see City Park remove the old structure, play structure for the kids. Now I know it's wood and it takes a great deal of resources to maintain a wood playground equipment. Not in replacement, but the city kept swings and kept the area over there, but they put in some new structures, primarily made out of plastic, and they're primarily designed, well, not primarily, they are designed for younger kids, not so much the older kids, the younger kids. I was a little disappointed to see that that particular playground could not be utilized for weeks because of the design of the playground, I'll say flooring, the ground cover, which is prone to kids poking holes in it. Unfortunately, the playground wasn't available for use during the States Day celebration because it was under construction of fixing it up. It's a new system. It's a new park system, new play toys. Randy spoke at the last, or it wasn't the last one, but at our debate, something about a month ago, he was talking about some play features in Crawford Park, and I would like to see that as well. And I'd like to see Crawford Park maintained a little bit better. I'm advocating for a dog field, a dog place, for dog owners and dogs, perhaps out of the spray field. One of the things that I see with the dogs is, and dog owners, is they use the parks. For instance, the Market Street Park. On one day or multiple days, you'll see people walking their dogs, and on the next day, you'll see dozens of children out there running through the park where the dogs have been. And so there's some things that we could do to shore up our parks, our playground equipment, and expand into other parks.
Thank you. We're just going to limit it to the mayoral candidates on that question. We do have a question for Scott and Christie. So, Christie, if you go first, please. What has the port done well in Prosser in the last couple of years, and where has it missed the mark?
What's that, Keith?
What has the port done well in Prosser the last couple of years, and where has it missed the mark?
I would say the last couple of years, we are coming out of COVID strong, and really the selling of the property at the Vintners Village, the partnering and collaborating with Downtown Prosser, the Chamber, and supporting those events in sponsorships. The balloon rally was amazing. I get to balloon. But just to see those connections and it having representation from the port and engaged in those activities, I think we do that really well. And also in looking at the opportunities that come our way that we can share with PETA or with the Chamber to really have that synergy. So just the conversation around getting the new charging stations done, that's a big deal. We need that for tourism. We need that for people in your town that want to have electric cars. So I think we've done really well with that. I think we've struggled with Clore, and I believe a really big part of that is because of the gentleman that passed away from WSU that was really a strong partner from WSU to the Clore Center. I think that really sort of tilted the ship, and right now there's negotiations going on right now that I can't talk about, but there is a partnership that is on the table to come in and really make that into a thriving educational research and community development area where the community and the public will have access. and there will be businesses brought in there. But that's coming, not quite yet ready for an announcement. So I would say that would be the weakest place. I think we're good partners all the way around the horn and the west.
I guess if I heard this right, because I have a hard of hearing, what has the port done well in the last 2 years? And what was the